Stefan គាត់នឹងនិយាយភាសាអង់គ្លេសឬក៏ត្រូវការបកប្រែអត់ទេអាចជួយលើកដៃPolly ត្រូវការបកប្រែអត់ត្រូវការអូខេអញ្ចឹងអ្នកដទៃទៀតត្រូវការអញ្ចឹងអាចសម្បទាគាត់ជួយសម្រាយបានន័យថាសង្ខេបចំណុចសំខាន់នៅក្នុងខ្លឹមសារដែល Stefan គាត់នឹងធ្វើផ្ដល់នៅក្នុងវគ្គប្រដៅនេះអញ្ចឹងអរគុណច្រើនស្វាគមន៍មកកាន់វគ្គប្រដៅវគ្គទី1ដែលយើងនឹងធ្វើឡើងនៅក្នុងរយៈពេល1ម៉ោងនិង30នាទីដែលបង្រៀនដោយលោក Stefan Logren ដែលគាត់ជាអ្នកកសែតនិងជាអ្នកដឹកនាំខ្សែវីដេអូដឹកនាំថតខ្សែវីដេអូហើយមានបទពិសោធន៍ជាង20ឆ្នាំគាត់បានសរសេរសាច់រឿងជាច្រើនទៅដែលផ្ដល់ជូនទៅប៉ុស្តិ៍ National Geographic ក៏ដូចជាមាតិកាសំខាន់សម្រាប់គម្រោងអច្ឆរិយភាពនៃទន្លេមេគង្គដែលភាគច្រើនសាច់រឿងដែលគាត់សរសេរគឺតាក់ទងជាមួយនឹងទឹកសាបជីវៈចម្រុះសំខាន់ក៏ដូចជាត្រីយក្សដែលយើងបានធ្វើការផុសផ្សព្វផ្សាយនៅក្នុង page របស់បណ្ដាមេកុងអញ្ចឹងក្នុងថ្ងៃនេះដែរខ្ញុំតំណាងឲ្យក្រុមការងារគម្រោងអច្ឆរិយភាពទន្លេមេគង្គដែលទទួលថវិកាពី USAID ក៏ដូចជាយ៉ាង Eco Ambassador ដែលរៀបចំវគ្គប្រដៅនេះឡើងស្វាគមន៍អ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាហើយយើងរីករាយនៅក្នុងការទទួលសំណួរក៏ដូចជាគំនិតនៅក្នុងការសរសេររឿងឬក៏គម្រោងរឿងនៅក្នុងការថតវីដេអូហើយលោក Stefan គាត់នឹងបង្ហាញគន្លឹះសំខាន់តាក់ទងជាមួយនឹងការធ្វើវីដេអូបែបនិទានរឿងនេះចាអញ្ចឹងមុននឹងពេលចាប់ផ្ដើមចូលទៅដល់វគ្គរបស់លោក Stefan ខ្ញុំចង់ដឹងថាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាមានអ្នកណាគេបានមើលខ្សែវីដេអូទាំង6ភាគរបស់គាត់ដែរអត់សូមលើកដៃឡើងអ្នកណាគេខ្លះបានមើល
Has anyone watched or see the video that provided by Stefan earlier? The 6 series of video. Please have your hands up. Almost everyone.
បើសិនជាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាអត់ទាន់បានមើលកុំអីដែរអាចចូលទៅមើលឡើងវិញពួកខ្ញុំនឹងផ្ដល់ link សម្រាប់ឲ្យអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាមើលហើយនៅក្នុងថ្ងៃនេះ Stefan គាត់នឹងបង្ហាញគន្លឹះសំខាន់នៅក្នុងការរៀបចំផែនការនៅក្នុងការថតវីដេអូហើយក្នុងថ្ងៃនេះដែរមានឥឡូវមានអ្នកណាគេចំណាប់អារម្មណ៍អាច unmute ហើយនិយាយបន្តិចបានទេថាតើមានក្តីរំពឹងទុកបែបម៉េចដែរអាចនិយាយម្នាក់ម្ដងក៏បានយកតែមួយចំណុចទេតើរំពឹងទុកអីគេពីវគ្គប្រដៅនៅក្នុងព្រឹកនេះ What is your expectation for this morning section អាច unmute ហើយនិយាយតាមclear
My expectation for this workshop is I would be able to put in the idea that I have into a video so that it's like effective and attractive for the audience. Thanks.
Great. Anyone would like to share your expectation?
Probably the same. Yeah, have some ideas at work or sometime off work, but find it very, very difficult to put into expression, especially on video and photo.
Thank you.
This probably will.
មានអ្នកណាគេចង់ចូលរួមទៀតទេ
Okay, Yombong. Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a very interesting workshop because now I'm working on media and information literacy. And also like we have a video telling story session and I'm looking forward and can explore some techniques, some like how to tell a story with smartphone, because young people are very enthusiastic about video. So I think it's gonna be fun for them, and also we work with the indigenous people, so it's a good idea for them. We train them and hope they can tell us their story in the communities. So I think it's very crucial parts for me. So I cannot wait to join workshop. Thank you.
So anyone want to share your expectation? We have 4 minutes.
I'm really looking forward to kind of having some time to workshop the ideas that we came up with, looking over the videos that Stefan made available, and I'm excited to hear what some other people are planning on using this training for. I think it might be really inspiring to hear some of the stories and ways that you guys are planning to use the training. So I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Thank you, Ellie. So we have a few minutes. Polly, you raise your hand.
And actually, it's my own thing. Well, yes, today I'm really looking forward to understand more about the story telling, especially from the mentor, I mean, specifically, and also to hear more about the story idea from other participants from today training as well. So thank you for organizing this.
អរគុណច្រើន Polly មានអ្នកណាគេទៀតទេយើងនៅសល់ 3 នាទីទៀតទុកពេលឲ្យបង្ហាញអំពី expectation ក្តីរំពឹងទុក
Okay, I want to join. I want to share about my expectation because I'm so noob at writing story. Yeah, but I'm good with edit video. So I joined this because I would like to hear about the idea how to make a story the best way and fast. So that's my expectation. I want to learn something new about writing storytelling. Yeah, that's from me. Thank you.
Running ថ្ងៃហ្នឹងយើងរៀនអំពី video storytelling.
Yeah. I know. So, but because I'm not good with writing story, and I rarely do it. But I'm good at edit, not writing story.
Okay. អរគុណច្រើន មានអ្នកណាគេទៀតទេនៅសល់ 2 នាទីទៀត Okay អញ្ចឹងសង្ឃឹមថាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នានឹងបានទទួលកលឹះសំខាន់អំពី Stefan នៅក្នុងវគ្គពី1ម៉ោងកន្លះថ្ងៃនេះហើយបើសិនជាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាក្នុងរយៈពេល1ម៉ោងកន្លះនេះអត់ទាន់បានទទួលគំនិតឬក៏កលឹះនៅក្នុងការរៀបចំផែនការដើម្បីរៀបចំចុះថតវីដេអូទេគាត់នឹងផ្ដល់ឱកាសឲ្យយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាជួបតាមរយៈ email ឬមួយក៏តាមរយៈ Telegram បើសិនជាអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាចង់ទៅចែកចង់សាកសួរព័ត៌មានទៅគាត់បន្ថែមទៀតអញ្ចឹងឥឡូវខ្ញុំសូមជូនកម្មវិធីនេះទៅ Stefan ហើយគាត់នឹងចែករំលែកទៅសំខាន់ទាក់ទងនឹង web program នេះ Stefan is your floor.
Great. Sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm Stefan Lovgren, and thank you, Sela, for what sounded like a very nice introduction. As Sela mentioned, I am a media content creator for the Wonders of the Mekong project. I am also a journalist and a filmmaker working with National Geographic. And I do a lot of stories about freshwater issues around the world. And I've done stories about the Mekong region for many years now. I came to Cambodia First time I came to Cambodia was probably about 15 years ago. So my background is actually as a writer. I'm a writer by training, and I started doing video stories about 20 years ago. And so it's interesting when the gentleman who spoke here last talked about how he wanted to learn how to tell stories, how to write stories, that he's a good editor, but he doesn't know how to write for video. That's exactly what this workshop is for. So my focus is there's a reason for why we call it a video storytelling workshop, because it's really about the storytelling. How do you tell a story in a video format in an effective way? So I was looking at in the chats here, and Samadi, did you want to translate, or should we do that at the end?
Yeah, we can we double check with the participant again how they are feeling right now?
Yeah, what are
ដែលទាំងអស់
people?
គ្នាគិតថាគាត់និយាយមិញហ្នឹងលឿនពេកឬក៏យឺតពេកឬក៏តាមតាន់ទេចង់ឲ្យខ្ញុំបកគ្រប់គ្នាឬក៏ចាំ recap នៅចុងបញ្ចប់ sentence ឬក៏ paragraph ណាមួយអញ្ចឹងណាឬក៏គ្រាន់តែសង្ខេបនៃមួយវគ្គព្រោះបើសិនជាវាស៊ីពេលប៉ុន្តែបើបក clear តាម clear ទាំងអស់វាស៊ីពេលតែទាំងអស់គ្នាអាចយល់ច្រើនតែបើអត់មានបញ្ហាជាមួយភាសាអង់គ្លេសឲ្យគាត់ទៅហ្មងមានយោបល់អីទេ
អត់អីទេណាគ្រូអាចតន់
ចាខ្ញុំគិតថាគាត់និយាយរឿងយឺតទេគាត់និយាយលឿនខ្លាំងទេប៉ុន្តែខ្ញុំនឹងសង្ខេបនៃនៅចុងពេលគាត់ recap ខ្ញុំអាច recap នៅចុងទីណាមួយដូចប្រហែល10នាទីអីម្ដងអញ្ចឹងណាដើម្បីឲ្យបានយល់ទៅច្បាស់តា key point
ប៉ុនគាត់ត្រូវការសង្ខេបមានសិក្ខាកាមគាត់ត្រូវការសង្ខេប
ចាអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំសង្ខេបនៃជូនពេលដែលគាត់ចប់គាត់និយាយ key point ចប់មួយអញ្ចឹងទៅគ្រាន់តែអត់បកតាម clear តាមប្រយោគគ្រប់ពាក្យទាំងអស់ទេហើយបើសិនជា along the way ពេលគាត់កំពុងធ្វើ presentation ហ្នឹងមានចម្ងល់គាត់ថាតាមអត់ទាន់លឿនពេកឬក៏អីចឹងទៅអាចលើកដៃឬក៏អនុញ្ញាតសួរបានណាខ្ញុំនឹងបកពេលហ្នឹងបាន looks like everyone got the idea it's comfortable with English but we'll get some translation at some of the main points.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. And just to clarify, I mean, we had planned on doing a translation, so we want everybody to feel comfortable with the format, and we're happy to clarify things in Khmer and make sure that everybody follows along.
Okay.
Great. So let's get into it. I'm happy to hear that most of you at least have seen the video series that we produced. It's the 6-part video series, and I hope that gave you some ideas and that you enjoyed it. As you know, much of that video series talked about the importance of planning before you start your video project. That's basically what the first installment in the series is about. It's about planning. And that's what I want to focus on here today. Specifically, we're going to talk about how you translate that idea that you have for a video into something that actually tells the story that you want to tell. Because I think this is probably the biggest hurdle that people have and find difficult to overcome. That they have an idea, they know that there's a story somewhere in that idea, but they don't know how to present it or how to explain it or how to write it. So so we had invited you to submit some ideas for stories that you wanted to do, and this first meeting is sort of meant to talk about those ideas and how we can polish them and make them better. And then we are thinking that we will have planning another meeting in December, when some of you will hopefully have a finished video project that you can share with the rest of the group, and we can talk about it and have a look at. And that's usually the fun part. We received a few ideas. I think we received 3 ideas so far, which is not that many, and it might not have been very clear what I was hoping that you would bring to this meeting, and that that might be my mistake. It's not a problem. For those of you who did not submit ideas, that's not a problem. You are welcome to participate in this meeting and ask all the questions that you want. And so we were talking about this beforehand, how we could sort of structure this, that if you want to submit ideas after this meeting, hopefully you'll have a better idea of what we're looking for and moving forward in this process. And you can submit these ideas after the meeting in email form, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then I can give you feedback on those ideas individually. So we can come up with an idea, a way to work with you on those ideas individually, so that everybody is sort of following along and know what to do. And I'll try to clarify things from here on out. What I liked about the ideas, and I want to talk about the ideas that I did receive, or that we did receive, and also if anybody has any ideas here for stories that they want to tell, let's bring them out and let's talk about them. The ideas that we received were very different. One was there were a couple of short video clips where it's interesting, interesting image that clearly someone had thought about and wanted to do something with, but doesn't have, maybe it's not a story yet. I also received from Mrs. Pali, and I'm hoping that I'm pronouncing that correctly, a very long and ambitious idea for a documentary project, and that's great. I think that it's great that we have that sort of diversity of ideas, because when as I explained in the video series, video storytelling can take many forms, and it could be about just a post for social media with one clip, one shot, something that you put up on Instagram, or it could be a long news report, something that you submit to a news channel, or a long documentary, or doesn't have to be long, but it could be a more a documentary that's sort of broader in scope. So but all of these principles that we talk about in this video series apply to all the different formats. So that's what the most important thing is to remember, that all of the things that we talked about there are applicable to whatever kind of video storytelling that you do.
Let me recap a bit.
Somebody, do you want to just make sure that everybody follow that?
Yeah. តាមពិតទៅមុននឹងយើងចាប់ផ្ដើម workshop ថ្ងៃនេះទាំងអស់គ្នាសុទ្ធតែបានឃើញ email ទទួលបាន email ហើយនឹងមើលវីដេអូទាំង6 video series ហ្នឹងហើយត្រូវទេ សង្ឃឹមថាអញ្ចឹងចាស់បើសិនជាអត់ផ្ទាន់បានមើលទេអាចទៅមើលម្ដងទៀតណាតែយើងមកជួបគ្នាថ្ងៃនេះមិនគ្រាន់តែនិយាយគ្នាលេងទេយើងក៏មុននឹងមកដល់ថ្ងៃនេះយើងក៏មាន homework សម្រាប់ទាំងអស់គ្នាតាម email ប៉ុន្តែគាត់អត់ដឹងថាការដែលគាត់សរសេរក្នុង email វាច្បាស់លាស់អត់ថាយើងត្រូវធ្វើអីអញ្ចឹងបានអ្នកដែលបានធ្វើ homework ហ្នឹងគឺមានតែ3អ្នកទេគឺ submit idea ថាគាត់ចង់ធ្វើរឿងអីនៅក្នុងវីដេអូរបស់គាត់អញ្ចឹងបើសិនជាអ្នកដែលចូលរួមថ្ងៃនេះតែអត់ទាន់បាន submit វីដេអូទេអាចលើកឡើងក្នុងថ្ងៃហ្នឹងឬក៏យកទៅគិតថាយើងចង់ធ្វើរឿងអីធ្វើ planning មិនអីមិនអញ្ចឹងណាហើយតិចទៀតគាត់នឹងនិយាយបន្ថែមហើយនឹងអ្នកដែលបាន submit វីដេអូហ្នឹងនឹងចូលរួមបកស្រាយថាគាត់នឹងធ្វើការតទៅមួយអីបន្ថែមទៀតប៉ុន្តែសំខាន់អ្នកដែលអត់ទាន់បាន submit idea វីដេអូហ្នឹងអាចយកពេលឥឡូវហ្នឹងគិតថាខ្លួនឯងចង់ធ្វើអីហើយយកមក plan រូបភាព planning ក្នុងពេលឥឡូវហ្នឹងពិភាក្សាមួយគ្រូពេលឥឡូវហ្នឹងក៏បានដែរតែល្អទៀតព្រោះយើងជួបគ្នា face to face ហើយមានក្រុមធំអញ្ចឹងណាអ្នកផ្សេងអាចចូលរួមបញ្យល់ក៏បានដែរហើយបើសិនជាមានពេលទៅមើលវីដេអូ series ទាំង6ហ្នឹងរបៀប planning របៀបប្រើប្រាស់ថា platform មួយណាព្រោះវីដេអូវាមានច្រើនបើសិនជាយើងធ្វើសម្រាប់ documentary វាវែងformat វាផ្សេងសម្រាប់ Instagram សម្រាប់ Facebook អីចឹង format social media platform ផ្សេងអាចធ្វើឲ្យយើង shape ឬក៏រៀបចំវីដេអូយើងផ្សេងគ្នាតាមដែល target ការងាររបស់យើងអញ្ចឹងណាចា Yep, Stefan.
Great, thank you. So before we look at the ideas that we have received, I wanted to do just a little bit of recap from the video series and specifically that first installment, which was about planning. As I mentioned there are some questions that you want to ask yourself before you start with a video project, and there's no set formula or set of questions that you have to go through or anything like that. But some of the things that I suggested in that video series is questions like what is your story? You need to know what your story is. Whom are you telling this story to? Who is your audience for this story? And what format are you doing this story for? Are you shooting footage for a scientific presentation or just some fun video to put up on Instagram? And who is going to watch this? So these are some of the questions that you really want to ask yourself before you start a project. Yeah. Do we have a question or?
No.
So one of the things that I emphasized in that video was that and suggested was that you write down your story in a single sentence, in one sentence. And this is very, very difficult for a lot of people. You might have an idea and there's so many things that you want to communicate, and you think that, oh, I must put all of those ideas into the presentation or the pitch, as we call it, or as a lot of people call it. You pitch something, that you propose something, you propose a story to someone. That means that the word that we use for it is to pitch. So make the mistake of going, trying to put all of that stuff into the pitch, all of those ideas into the pitch, and it makes the story, sort of be all over the place, that you're not able to focus on what the story really is about. And I'll give you an example of this. So I have some experience writing screenplays. screenplays for feature films, and I used to live in Los Angeles, and so in Los Angeles there's the large film industry called Hollywood, and so I would have ideas for screenplays that I would propose to producers, that I would pitch to film producers, and I had this one idea, which was based on a true story. And it was a very dramatic story about a priest that had been killed, and it was a political thriller, and it's based on a story that I had been covering as a journalist. And so I came up with this pitch for this film, and I went in to see a producer about it, and I was very excited. And I'm pitching and I'm telling him this idea that I have for this film, and I must have been talking for 45 minutes about this idea, about this film, and he was very engaged and he listened to me the whole time, and he was it felt like it was going really well, like he would be interested in this. And when I finished my pitch and I said, "What do you think?" He looked at me and he said, "I think it's a great story if you can tell it in 30 seconds. Okay, so there I'd been talking about this story for 45 minutes and trying to get all the little details and everything into it. And he just turned around and said, "If you can tell this story in 30 seconds, then let's talk about it." So the lesson there is that you want to keep your pitch brief, and it's not just to not waste other people's time, but it's mostly because it helps you. It helps you with telling the story. If you know what your story really is, then it's going to direct you. It's going to guide you in filming this story, filming this video. So very important to know what your idea is. The idea can be sparked by an image, or it can be sparked by a person that you know, or it can be sparked by something that you see or something that you read. But what is the story that you want to tell? So this goes for whether it's something short for social media or something long for like a documentary. So somebody, I don't know if you do you want to just do a short recap of that?
មុនដំបូង Stefan គាត់និយាយពីវីដេអូទាំង6របស់គាត់ហ្នឹងវគ្គទី1បើសិនជាបានមើលគឺសំដៅទៅលើ planning ពេលដែលយើងកំពុងតែ plan ហ្នឹងយើងគួរតែមានសំណួរសួរថាតើរឿងយើងហ្នឹងអីគេ what is your story យើងសរសេររឿងពីអីហើយអ្នកណាជា audience របស់យើងនិយាយទៅយើងចង់ឲ្យអ្នកណាគេមើលហើយមួយទៀតខ្ញុំក៏បានលើកឡើងពីមុនដែរគឺ format ថាយើងធ្វើហ្នឹងគឺក្នុង format អីគេបើសិនជាយើងដឹងច្បាស់ថាយើងដាក់ Instagram យើងដាក់នៅក្នុង Facebook YouTube ឬក៏យើងធ្វើជា documentary វែងកន្លះម៉ោង1ម៉ោងអីអញ្ចឹងយើងដឹងច្បាស់ហើយថាយើងនឹងរៀបចំ planning បែបណាហើយពេលដែលយើងធ្វើហើយយើងត្រូវដឹងថាពេលយើងដាក់ទៅហ្នឹងគេមើលអត់ណាគេអ្នកមើលយើងចង់ឲ្យអ្នកណាមើលនឹង audience របស់យើងហើយត្រូវចាំថាពេលដែលយើងឆ្លើយសំណួរថា what is your story ហ្នឹងយើងគួរតែទៅសេចេញជាតែមួយប្រយោគទៅគឺ one sentence ថារឿងហ្នឹងគឺរឿងអីដូចគាត់និយាយមិញអញ្ចឹងពេលដែលគាត់ធ្លាប់ធ្វើការជាមួយfilm ដូចផលិតភាពយន្តនៅអាមេរិកហ្នឹងធ្វើ screenplay គាត់មានសាច់រឿងគាត់រៀបរាប់ឡើង 30-40 នាទីប៉ុន្តែប្រធានគាត់សួរថាចុះបើសិនជាហិតតែល្អបើសិនជាអ្នកឯងអាចរៀបរាប់បានរឿងហ្នឹងក្នុងរយៈពេលប្រើរយៈពេលតែ30 វិនាទីអញ្ចឹងបកមកគឺដូច សំណួរដែរថា what is your story ហើយឲ្យយើងទៅសេតែមួយ clear អញ្ចឹងដើម្បី pitch idea គឺលក់idea នឹងឲ្យប្រធានឲ្យក្រុមការងារឬក៏ឲ្យអ្នកគេម្នាក់ទិញយកគណិតរឿងរបស់យើងនឹងយើងគួរតែចេះ pitch ក្នុងតែមួយ clear ក្នុងរយៈពេលខ្លីហើយរៀបរាប់ដំណើររឿងអស់អញ្ចឹងពេលបើសិនជាអត់មានរយៈពេលវែងក្នុងការនិយាយឬក៏អត់មានបើសិនជាគេកំណត់ចំនួនអក្សរចំនួនពាក្យដូចមួយ clear អញ្ចឹងយើងច្បាស់ជាអាចរកចំណុចសំខាន់នៃសាច់រឿងហើយយកមកប្រាប់គេហើយគឺអញ្ចឹងការ pitching ហ្នឹងគឺវាដូចជា guide គឺដូចជាការនាំផ្លូវនៅក្នុងការរៀបចំសាច់រឿងរបស់យើងឬក៏គំនិតរឿងរបស់យើងនិយាយទៅដូចអង្គរឿងអញ្ចឹងវាមិនមែនយើងបាច់ចាំនិយាយកន្លះម៉ោងរៀបរាប់ឡើង detail ទេយើងចំណាយពេលតែរយៈពេលខ្លីហើយខ្លឹមទៅបានហើយឲ្យគេយល់ថា overall ថាសាច់រឿងទាំងមូលគឺនិយាយពីអី
Great. That's it. Yeah. Excellent. So what I was hoping was that we could have a look at some of the ideas that we did receive. Do we have? I got an idea from a Mr. Tok. Is he in the group?
What is his
No, he not joined the meeting.
Okay. Fine. That's not a problem. I'm wondering if so why don't we, it might be helpful if I tell you about the idea that or what I was sent by Mr. Tok, and then even if we can't see it or he's not here to explain it, we can talk about it because I think that it was a good sort of example to use here. So he sent us an idea, or he sent us basically a short video clip, which was 10 seconds long, with what seemed like goldfish. I don't know what kind of fish they were, but they looked like goldfish. Goldfish swimming in a fountain. So it's a very pretty setting. Like it seemed like it was some kind of courtyard, and you had some goldfish swimming in this fountain, or in this little pond. So here you have an image that is a pretty image, but it doesn't really come with a story, and he didn't provide any written description or any explanation for what he wanted to do in terms of telling a story about this image. So I was curious to ask questions about what that could be, and we can talk about that or what that story could be. I know that keeping fish, that there are people here in Cambodia and in Thailand and other places, well, all around the world, keeping fish, aquarium fish is something that a lot of people like to do and are passionate about. So I was wondering, where is this filmed, first of all? Like, where are these fish? Is this in Cambodia? And why is he filming these fish? What is the story that he wants to tell with these fish? What could be newsworthy about this image? Because that's a way to think about video storytelling. making it newsworthy, making your story newsworthy. What about your story is going to get people interested? What kind of questions will people ask when they see this story or want to know more about? Right? Does that make sense? And then I started thinking, like, during COVID, for example, I was wondering if this has become something where people are confined to their houses, and this seemed to be an image of a backyard or a courtyard or somebody's residence. Has this become more popular? Have people wanting to, as people spend more time at home, perhaps they have, they've acquired, fish and like to stay at home and look at those fish. How has COVID affected this, the aquarium business or the business of people, keeping, fish as pets or as, something that is beautiful to look at. And how has that affected the market for these fish? Have they become more expensive? Are they more difficult to find? These are some of the questions that I was thinking about, as I was looking at this idea, trying to figure out where you could take this story, what you could do with this story. What are some of the newsworthy elements to this story? It might just be that you want to do a video about the beauty of these fish. And in which case, the way that it was shot, it was kind of simply shot at an angle, and there was a little bit of glaring on the water surface, so it was a little bit difficult to see the fish. And so if you wanted to do that, then maybe now I see, is that Mr. Tok by any chance entering the waiting room?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Buntun is at school meeting. By
okay. Sorry. So is he joining us or?
Buntun, you can talk. He is school.
Okay. Well.
He can listen your idea. He at school meeting with other children and teacher.
Okay. Yeah, probably best to I would love to hear from him. But so now it's now I've been talking about his idea, here. So I would love to hear what that idea is. But maybe maybe we can sort of open it up to the group. And now that I've explained what this image showed, what are some of the other ideas that people, might have for what the story could be with this image?
ខ្ញុំសូមសង្ខេបបន្តិចមានបងម្នាក់បងប៊ុនធឿនគាត់ submit idea គាត់គឺគាត់ថតវីដេអូខ្លីមួយពីអាងត្រីរបស់គាត់មិនដឹងរបស់គាត់ឬក៏របស់អ្នកណានៅណាប៉ុន្តែស្អីដែលគាត់ submit គឺអាងត្រីមួយហើយពេលគាត់អត់មានទៅសេអីទេអញ្ចឹងពេលដែល Stefan គាត់មើលគាត់មានសំណួរជាច្រើនដូចជាឧទាហរណ៍ថាតើពេលដែលមើលឃើញរូបត្រីរូបអីហ្នឹងហើយគិតថាទិន្នន័យឬក៏ព័ត៌មានហ្នឹងគឺវាដូចមានគុណតម្លៃថាវាសំខាន់ប៉ុណ្ណាពាក់ទងនឹងព័ត៌មានណាការ newsworthy ហ្នឹងហើយគួរឲ្យចាប់អារម្មណ៍ប៉ុណ្ណាបើសិនជាសម្រាប់អ្នកមើលសម្រាប់ audience អញ្ចឹងចង់ដឹងពី perspective របស់អ្នកធ្វើវិញដូចបងប៊ុនធឿនអញ្ចឹងតែគាត់ចប់រវល់គាត់អាចនិយាយបានឥឡូវទេហើយមួយទៀតក៏ចង់ដឹងថាបើសិនជាមនុស្ស audience គាត់មើលហើយគាត់យល់យ៉ាងម៉េចគាត់ចង់ដឹងអីទៀតពីគ្រាន់តែឃើញអាងត្រីនឹង ហើយសម្រាប់ Stefan ផ្ទាល់គឺគាត់គិតដល់ដោយសារយើងមានបញ្ហា COVID អីអញ្ចឹងទៅថារឿងបើសិនជាយើងមើលអាងត្រីយើងអាចគិតដល់ថាឥឡូវហ្នឹងត្រីការប្រកបរបរអាងត្រីលក់ត្រីលក់អីហ្នឹងវាឡើងថ្លៃឬក៏ចុះថ្លៃពេលដែលមាន COVID ហ្នឹងមនុស្សចូលចិត្តនៅផ្ទះច្រើនចំណាយពេលច្រើនអញ្ចឹងការដែលគាត់យកត្រីមកតាំងអង្គុយមើលវាមានគុណតម្លៃឬក៏វាមានអត្ថប្រយោជន៍គឺបំបត្តិការអបសុកឬក៏អីមួយអញ្ចឹងពេលដែលយើងធ្វើព័ត៌មានធ្វើfilm ធ្វើវីដេអូហ្នឹងយើងគួរតែគិតដល់ perspective ផ្សេងៗគ្នាថាតកតងនឹងអីណាមួយអញ្ចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងគាត់ Stefan គាត់មើលតែគាត់ថាគាត់គាត់មើលវីដេអូខ្លីមួយគាត់នឹកឃើញរឿងពាក់ព័ន្ធផ្សេងច្រើនហើយអញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់ទាំងអស់គ្នាវិញបើសិនជាឃើញវីដេអូអាងត្រីថា30វិនាទីទេមានយោបល់យ៉ាងម៉េចដែរគិតដល់អីគិតដល់ COVID ថាហ្នឹងវាខ្លាយជាមុខរបរល្អមួយមនុស្សចំណាយពេលមើលត្រីច្រើនដោយសារគាត់បានចេញក្រៅឬក៏មិនវិញ Stefan. So we'll see what people.
Great. Yes. Is there anybody who would like to say something about that?
អញ្ចឹងទាំងអស់គ្នាសម័យមើលបើសិនជាបានមើលវីដេអូខ្លីក្នុងរយៈពេល30វិនាទីពីអាងត្រីដូចត្រីក្រឹមត្រីអីអញ្ចឹងយើងគិតដល់អីគិតដល់ COVID ដូច Stefan គិតឬក៏អីមួយណាគេមានយោបល់អីទេអាចលើកដៃឬក៏អនុញ្ញាតខ្លួនឯងមក
Because here's a suggestion. So in the video series we talked about writing down your story in a single sentence. So I think that one of the terms that I used, or a word that is used when you're writing screenplays, is a log line. A log line. So this basically is something that encapsulates the story in one single sentence in a very kind of entertaining and way that sort of grabs you and makes you like want to read this screenplay and watch this movie and also explains what it's going to be about. So thinking about that for this story about the goldfish and following up on what I was talking about with COVID, for example, the log line, the one single sentence that explains what the story is could be that keeping goldfish has become more popular during the pandemic in Cambodia, let's say. That could be one sentence. And why would that be interesting? Well, it's because it's something that is newsworthy. It's something that you are communicating information that people may not know, right? So keeping goldfish has become has become very popular during the Cambodia or during the pandemic in Cambodia. So I have to think about like more how to make it a little bit more sounding more interesting, but something like that makes it. Then you have a sort of a newsworthy angle to your story, and then if you can. So that's the one single sentence, and then if you broaden your story and you explain a little bit more what it's about, you can talk about how in Cambodia perhaps the people are very fond of keeping goldfish at home, and that there's a big market for this, and that maybe this market has gone up during the pandemic. It's doubled, and the prices for goldfish have doubled. I'm just making things up here, but this could be the story. And so now you're explaining what the story is about, right? So, you know, you take this one image, you're filming a goldfish, and it could be many, many different stories attached to that image. This is just one idea, one example. But if you tell me goldfish swims around in a pond, that is not necessarily a very interesting, story, or a sentence that explains what the story is about, because that's what goldfish do, right? So, whereas, what is the actual story that you want to tell might be something about how the goldfish market has changed during COVID. So that's what this is what I'm talking about when I talk about how to find out what the story is, and how you can explain that story, how you can describe that story in an effective way, right? And then you want to ask those other questions that I was talking about. Who are you telling this story to? Who is your audience? If you're putting something up on Instagram or on Facebook, and you're showing your goldfish that you have just bought or received, and you put it in the little pond that you have at home, or a little fountain that you have at home, or somebody has at home, that's a story. What you want to say, I bought a goldfish and it's beautiful. That's a story also. It's a much simpler story. But if that's the story that you're telling, then the audience that you want to tell that story to is probably just your friends, or those who are interested in the fact that you got a goldfish, right? If you are doing this as a story, that is a broader story, you want to ask, like, who are you telling the story to? Who is your audience for this? Perhaps it is part of you want to do a news story. And if you want to do a news story about this, and let's say it's true what I said about goldfish becoming more popular during COVID, then maybe you want to interview the person who owns the goldfish, and ask her or him why they got the goldfish. Maybe you want to talk to people who are selling goldfish, people who know this market, breeding goldfish. You want to find out more information about this business, and you want to interview those people, right? So then you apply those principles that we talked about in the video series, about how you interview people and all of that. We're not going to talk about that here. Now we're just talking about what is the story that you are trying to tell. Right? So does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions, or somebody, do you want to do a little recap of that?
Yes. Stefan គាត់និយាយពី log line ជាងដូចគ្រាន់តែជាដូចសាច់រឿងប៉ុន្តែយើងសរសេរខ្លីមក clear អញ្ចឹងណា ហើយវាមានន័យគ្រប់គ្រាន់ ហើយគាត់យើងឧទាហរណ៍យើងគឺនៅតែរឿងអាងចំត្រីនឹងតែទេអញ្ចឹង log line របស់គាត់គឺ ការដែលចិញ្ចឹមត្រីនៅក្នុងពេលបច្ចុប្បន្នហ្នឹងដោយសារតែក្នុងដំណាក់កាល COVID នៅប្រទេសកម្ពុជាគឺមានចំនួនកើនឡើងគឺឬក៏ get more popular មានប្រជាប្រិយភាពច្រើនជាងមុនអញ្ចឹងគ្រាន់តែយើងស្ដាប់ logline មួយហ្នឹងយើងដឹងហើយថាមានរឿងអីកើតឡើងគឺមនុស្សចិញ្ចឹមត្រីច្រើនដោយសារតែវា COVID ហើយកើតឡើងនៅស្រុកខ្មែរclear ទាំងអស់ហ្នឹងវាមានគុណតម្លៃព័ត៌មានដោយសារតែយើងប្រាប់រឿងរ៉ាវដែល audience របស់យើងអត់ដឹងមនុស្សមួយចំនួនអត់ដឹងទេថារឿងហ្នឹងកើតឡើងនៅស្រុកយើងអញ្ចឹងណាហើយយើងអាចធ្វើរឿងហ្នឹងបន្ថែមមើលទៅលើទីផ្សាររបស់ត្រីហ្នឹងយើងអាចឆ្លើយទៅនឹងសំណួរថាត្រីហ្នឹងវាកើនឡើងវាដូចមានប្រជាប្រិយភាពតាំងពីពេលណាតា COVID ហ្នឹងទេហើយតម្លៃវាមិនតែវាមានការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរអត់ហើយអ្នកណាយើងបើសិនជាយើងចង់ឲ្យសាច់រឿងយើងវារៀងស៊ីជម្រៅយើងអាចមើលទៅលើយើងអាចសម្ភាសអ្នកដែលគាត់ទិញត្រីមកចិញ្ចឹមអ្នកដែលគាត់លក់អ្នកដែលគាត់ប្រកាត់ត្រីអញ្ចឹងបើយើងធ្វើវែងឆ្ងាយសម្ភាសអ្នកនេះអ្នកនោះអញ្ចឹងសាច់រឿងឬក៏ film របស់យើងវាហៅថា detail វាមានខៅ element វាមានផ្នែកធាតុច្រើនចូលរួមអញ្ចឹងវា complete វាពេញលេញតែឧទាហរណ៍ថាបើសិនជាយើងគ្រាន់តែថតបន្តិចថាខ្ញុំទៅទិញត្រីអញ្ចឹងយើងបែរទៅសួរខ្លួនឯងថា audience យើងណាគេបើសិនជាយើងគ្រាន់តែនិយាយពាក្យថាខ្ញុំទៅទិញត្រីថាត្រីក្រឹមត្រីអីយកមកចិញ្ចឹមយ៉ាងច្រើនយើងអាចចែកចាយព័ត៌មានហ្នឹងត្រឹមតែអ្នកយើងស្គាល់គ្នាវាអត់មានគុណតម្លៃព័ត៌មានឬក៏វាអត់ស៊ីជម្រៅទេប៉ុន្តែបើយើងចង់ communicate ឬក៏ឲ្យព័ត៌មានឲ្យសាច់រឿងរបស់យើងទៅដល់ audience រៀងទលំទលាយយើងគួរតែធ្វើវាឲ្យស៊ីជម្រៅដូចគាត់លើកឡើងអញ្ចឹងចាហើយដល់ដំណាក់កាលនេះមានសំណួរទេតែបងប៊ុនធឿនមុនហ្នឹងក៏គាត់ប្រាប់នៅក្នុង chat room ដែរថាគាត់អត់អាចនិយាយបានទេប៉ុន្តែនៅក្នុងសាច់រឿងដែលគាត់ចង់បញ្ជាក់ហ្នឹងគឺមនុស្សចូលចិត្តពេលដែលគាត់មើលត្រីអាងត្រីហ្នឹងទៅរៀងសប្បាយចិត្តជាងមុនហើយវាក៏ជា business ល្អមួយដែរ
មានសំណួរមួយពីដាណាអាចអានយកហើយសួរសំណួរបានទេ
ដាណាប្រហែលជាចង់សួរពី link ដែលបងឯងផ្ញើវីដេអូទាំង6ហ្នឹងទៅហ្នឹង
ដាណា4អូខេឥឡូវបើដាណាអត់ទាន់សួរអាចមានអ្នកផ្សេងសួរទេអ្វីដែល Stefan បានលើកឡើងហ្នឹង
Any question
Great. Should I continue?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I wanted to move on to another video that we received, but before there was one thing that I was thinking about just with the idea that that Mr. Tok submitted. I want you guys to also keep in mind that. Like, I'm Swedish. I come from Sweden and I live in the United States. And my background and the way that, we do things in the United States, the things that you see on TV, things that you see in, social media is going to be a little bit different than what you, might see in Cambodia. So I wanted to talk, I want to talk about these universal sort of principles or things that are applicable to different ways of doing things. But it doesn't mean that, there's a right and a wrong, right? If there's Mr. Tok was saying in the chat that, his idea was that make a video about goldfish where everyone can relax and make business with fish, make us feel happy. That is also a story, that's a story you want to, maybe you want to think about, like try to put that in a sentence that you know, that is more, I don't know, newsworthy in some way. But the point I wanted to make was that there's different stories to tell, and there's no right or wrong story, and there's different ways of telling those stories as well. You know, I work with a guy named Chuchana as some of you know, in the Wonders of the Mekong project, and we come up, we often run into this situation where, like, I think that we should do something a certain way, and he thinks that we should do something another way, because he might want to, like, include a very long interview with somebody, whereas I say, well, let's just try to keep, get 1 or 2 quotes from this interview. And he says, well, Stefan, you don't understand. Like, people in Cambodia, we want to hear, like, everything that the person has to say. And I think sometimes I argue with him, and I say, well, this is not important. This is not what the story is. This is, this and that. But sometimes, and sometimes I win, and sometimes he wins, right? Because there's people have different interests, and they have different ways of looking at it, and there's no one right way. So that's just something, kind of a reflection that I wanted to share, and for you to keep in mind. So when I say, well, why don't you do it this way, that might not mean that this is the only way that you can do it, right? So we have another short video clip that we received from
Stefan. Dana Bon cannot talk, and then the question is about, so we add the touch to accompany with the video.
I'm sorry?
They asked whether we need any touch to explain about the video. When I'm not sure when they post a video or do a subtitle or explain when they capture or do a video, documentary or story. Do we need a touch accompany with the video? Touch.
What?
The word.
Text. Oh, the words. Yeah. I think that for the purposes of what we're doing here, I don't think that we should people should not be doing subtitles or anything like that. If you want to do something in Khmer, fine. If you want to do something in English, fine. But it's a good question, for whether you should you should include text or subtitles, and it's a question that that is related to what I was talking about, knowing your audience, right? So if you know that you are doing something you're doing a video for a Khmer speaking audience, and where everybody speaks Khmer, there is no reason to subtitle that if the people in the video that you might be interviewing or whatever, if they speak Khmer, you don't have to subtitle. However, most of the video that we see nowadays is on social media. And like, if you take Instagram, for example, Instagram, and you're scrolling through Instagram, it doesn't pop up automatically the audio, right? You have to click on the video for the audio to come up. A lot of people, they will just, and we talked about this in the video series, people will scroll through, and they won't hear what is being said in the video. And so maybe you want to grab people's attention by including some text and explaining what it is that they're looking at, the pictures that they're looking at. Right?
Let me recap a bit. Yeah.
Dana គាត់ឆ្លើយតបទៅនឹងសំណួរហ្នឹងអត់ទេ
Dana គាត់ Trong đăng tha dương ai đã bà xin gì dương trong bây giờ bà thay dương ai đã sắp thời thôi rồi cả làng thầy bình sáng á hay Stefan chùm lại bao quát tâm bất dương thử cả lịch mơ audience vào dương tha chỉ chun chết ai ai phở phiệt xa bà xin gì nè đại mơ nó quạt khmai hay nè nó không rửa sạch đường nó khmai tế dương bạch làng của bạnได้bà xin gì audience dương mình là cái thời ca phở phiệt xa ông lý chẳng xua luôn anh tính tha dương audience យើងជាអ្នកណាបើសិនជាទាំងពីរអាហ្នឹងក៏គួរតែតម្លើងដែរហើយមានយ៉ាងទៀតមើលទៅលើ format សាច់រឿងរបស់យើងគាត់លើកឧទាហរណ៍នៅក្នុង Instagram បើសិនជាយើងពេលដែលយើង scroll អត់ឮសលេងទេនៅក្នុង Instagram តើតែយើង select លើវីដេអូមួយហ្នឹងវាទៅដូចចុចបើកសលេងអញ្ចឹងបើសិនជាដើម្បីតាក់ទាញចំណាប់អារម្មណ៍ព្រោះយើងដាក់សលេងដើម្បីឲ្យគេឮគេដឹងសាច់រឿងរបស់យើងប៉ុន្តែបើម្នាក់នឹងអត់ click នៅក្នុងវីដេអូហ្នឹងឲ្យវាឮសលេងហ្នឹងវាអត់ឮទេដើម្បីតាក់ទាញចំណាប់អារម្មណ៍យើងគួរតែដាក់ដូច title ចំណងជើងឬក៏កន្លែងណាអក្សរអីមួយឲ្យវាតាក់ទាញណាអញ្ចឹងពេលគេឃើញបើទោះជាអត់បានឮគាត់អាចចាប់អារម្មណ៍ហើយចុចបើកសំឡេងមើលអញ្ចឹងវាអាស្រ័យទៅលើ format ថាយើងប្រើវីដេអូហ្នឹងនៅក្នុងកន្លែងណាទៀតហើយមួយទៀតមុនហ្នឹងគាត់និយាយពីជនជាតិគាត់ជាជនជាតិស៊ុយអែតហើយគាត់ធ្វើការរស់នៅសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកហើយនឹងស្រុកខ្មែរអញ្ចឹងហើយជាមួយក្រុមការងារ Wonder of the Mekong ពេលដែលទៅ film ម្ដងអញ្ចឹងជនជាតិផ្សេងគ្នា background ផ្សេងគ្នាតែងតែមានហៅ different idea មានយោបល់មានរបៀបធ្វើការផ្សេងគ្នាហើយអញ្ចឹងពេលដែលធ្វើការមួយគ្នាពេលដែលគាត់និយាយថាយើងគួរតែធ្វើអញ្ចេះมันប្រកាសថាវាជាមធ្យោបាយមួយតែមួយដែលយើងអាចធ្វើបានទេអញ្ចឹងយើងអាចធ្វើបែបផែនផ្សេងអីផ្សេងហើយយើងយកមក consult ជាមួយគាត់អីដែលគាត់ចង់និយាយគឺបានន័យថាមនុស្សផ្សេងគ្នាមាន idea ផ្សេងគ្នាមានមធ្យោបាយធ្វើការផ្សេងគ្នាអញ្ចឹងអាចអ្វីដែលគាត់និយាយវាมันប្រកាសថាត្រូវនៅក្នុង context យើង 100% ទេហើយក៏អីដែលយើងធ្វើมันប្រកាសថាខុសឬក៏យើងត្រូវតាមគាត់ទាំងអស់ដែរទេ Yeah, that should be it.
Okay, so let's move on. I wanted to see if is it Chuchen from Bangkok, I think?
Yes, it's me.
Yeah. Hi. You had submitted a video clip also. I was wondering if you wanted to, if you feel comfortable, if you wanted to share with us what idea that you had.
It starts from just one pictures and that impact your emotion, right? But even myself, I don't know what exactly that impact me. I mean, so it even make it harder to make a single sentence or to shape up my idea yet. But on paddling on the Jalpaya River, and I see it's a nice breeze and beautiful, so scenery, the plants, the water, the sky. But then on the background and foreground, most of the times depend on the time of the day, I will see a lot of plastic floating, more than I imagine. I mean, with your own eyes. I don't think people will traveling on the river at my level of view. It's not bird's eye view. It's not the, on the surface.
Sorry, can I just stop you there for 1 second? I think that maybe you sent two different videos. There was one video that I saw that was that ended on like it's filmed from inside a coffee shop.
Correct. Yes.
Is that the one that you're talking about?
Then another one, I just sent the folder. Because I misunderstood the assignment. First, I thought this is a one shot. Then I sent one shot of plastic. Yeah. So then I said, oh, it's a video. So if a video, I only have that coffee shop video. Yeah.
Right.
But if the one shot, I just sent you around 9 a.m. this morning. I sent the folder in the folders.
Okay, I didn't see the video or or the idea for that you're talking about the river.
Not in the summit yet. Yeah.
So why don't which is fine. And so let's forget about the shot that you sent, with from inside the coffee shop, and let's talk about the idea for a story about the river. Maybe how maybe you can explain what what idea you have in mind.
So and then people, and I think policy as well, is trying to stop single use of plastics, and middle class and educate Thai people think that is the only way, right? Stop using plastic. But the message that I've been thinking is that it's not about the stop production, or giving people the plastic. It's about the people acts, individual acts that decided to drop it in the river or not put it into the bin. And in Thailand and in developing country, most of the plastic can go back to the recycle process, but majority is not. Just that.
Right. Great. I think this is a obviously a very important topic and an important story to do. It's a story that has a lot of different elements to it, a lot of questions. It's also a story that is relatively easy to film because you can very easily show what the problem is by going to a river that is polluted with plastics, right? But what I'm hearing from you is that, and this is why I think that this is really very good, and like trying to think about a story in a way that hasn't been told, or is with a little bit of a different focus than the story that has been told, right? So we all know about the
polluted water, right?
Of single-use plastic, right?
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that the focus should not be about stopping production or preventing people from
using it,
plastic, but that it should be about education.
It's the act on the individual people.
So how can we think about that in a sentence? Well, like what the story is here.
Yeah, I watched your video, but that's a month or two before. So and you just recap this morning, and I work on the paper right now just when you talk. So I came up with one sentence: is plastic waste is a personal act.
It's a personal act.
Yeah, it's a personal act.
Right.
It's not the couldn't be the may not be correct, but this is what I have at the moment.
Like I said, there's nothing correct or incorrect.
Yeah, right.
But what I think that you're definitely on the right path. And it's just something that needs to be explained more. So one word that comes to mind is that it's personal responsibility. Those are two words, but personal responsibility. I'm thinking that in order for us to reduce the amount of plastic that is being used and discarded and thrown in the rivers, what you're saying is that a lot of it comes down to personal responsibility, not government regulations.
Correct.
So maybe that's the story, like cutting down
plastic.
Eliminating plastic single plastic use, comes down to personal responsibility, not government regulation. Now that's in a one sentence. You've said a lot.
Right, that's true. Yeah,
so
that's correct.
You said a lot, but you're also explaining, what the story is about.
Yeah.
Right? Or what it is, what your sort of thesis is, or what your the point that you're trying to make with this story.
I have another point. Yeah, I have another point with one picture, but I find it hard. I mean, I think it needs a little bit more information. I think to cutting the plastic waste is not completely to ban single-use plastics, but is again single act to at one own capacity to reduce at your own hand.
Right.
Something like
that. No, I mean, but you're, let's try to, again, there's many elements to this story, and there's many things that you want to say. What I like about this, and hearing you talk about it, is that you have one idea that is an argument that you want to focus on. So rather than doing a story that comes up with a million different ideas, you focus on this one idea, and maybe this is something that people will pick up on easier if it's explained in a very succinct way. Like, for example, like with this workshop today, a lot of things are being said, and I'm saying a lot of things. And in that video series, I say a whole bunch of things, but then at the end, I recap it with the 3 points. So you may not remember 90% of the things that were said in this video. We're only human, and we can't process everything, but we want to help people remember the key points. So like for this talk today, basically all I want people to come away from this saying, okay, where do I start? I start by reducing my idea into a single sentence, and focusing on what the story is. If you come away with anything from this talk, that would be a good thing.
Okay.
Does anybody else have so thank you so much for sharing that. And does anybody else have any thoughts on this idea? Somebody, maybe you can.
You want them to reflect on Chochan idea, or you want them to throw?
I mean, if anybody has any thoughts on what how to like let's all think about like what the one sentence to sum up this story could be.
This plastic story, right?
Yeah.
តាមពិតទៅចូលចិនគាត់មាន idea តាក់ទងនឹងគាត់ផ្ញើរូបមួយទៅ Stefan ហ្នឹងគឺរឿង plastic នៅទន្លេចៅបញ្ញាពេលដែលគាត់ជិះទូកហ្នឹងគឺគាត់ឃើញ plastic ជាច្រើនអញ្ចឹងណាហើយគាត់ come up ជាមួយនឹងការ one sentence story មួយហ្នឹងគឺ plastic waste is a personal act ការ plastic กับសម្រាម plastic ការគ្រប់គ្រងសំណល់ plastic ហ្នឹងគឺជារឿងផ្ទាល់ខ្លួនបានន័យថាបើសិនជាយើងម្នាក់ត្រូវមានទំនួលខុសត្រូវអញ្ចឹងណាហើយ Stefan ក៏គាត់ឲ្យ idea ផ្សេងដែរថាយើងគួរតែបន្ថែមអី ឲ្យវា complete បានន័យថា sentence ដែលគាត់ប្រើហ្នឹងវាអត់ទាន់ពេញលេញហ្មងទេវាអត់ទាន់មានន័យគ្រប់គ្រាន់ឲ្យយល់ច្បាស់ថាយើងត្រូវធ្វើមិនមានបញ្ហាអីខ្លះពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹងរឿង plastic waste ហ្នឹងទេហើយចំពោះទាំងអស់គ្នាវិញមានយោបល់យ៉ាងណាដែរទាក់ទងនឹង plastic waste ហ្នឹងឬក៏អាចផលិតជាបង្កើតជា sentence ណាមួយនិយាយរឿង plastic ហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងណាមានណាគេមានយោបល់អីទេ
So it's okay if I just wanted to throw it out there. I think this is a really, I like this idea, and it's a good example of a story that can be, again, a good example of a story that can be told in many different ways, and where the
So I try to show you the pictures. I don't know how to upload or share, so you can see in my profile here the pictures of the river and then the plastic bottle. How can I?
Yeah. Now we see it.
Okay. So everyone see, and then if you have some idea or if it impact your thought and
yeah. So yeah, that's great. And I'm looking at the chat here where Ellie, you said that you like the fact that we can show different perspectives on the solution to plastic pollution because proper disposal is available in Thailand, and that's a good point. You can we don't have to throw the plastic in the river, right? So that could be that's a part of the story. What are the available solutions, and where can people dispose of plastic garbage in Thailand, and then there's lots to say about that as well.
អញ្ចឹងបើយើងនិយាយរឿង plastic ហ្នឹងឧទាហរណ៍ឡើងវិញបើយើងមិនបាច់ចាំផ្ដោតសំខាន់ទៅលើតែបញ្ហាយើងអាចមើលទៅលើ solution ដូចអេលីគាត់និយាយអញ្ចឹងដូចនៅថៃវាមាន solution គេហៅ disposable នឹងគ្រប់ទីកន្លែងបានន័យថាបើមានធុងសម្រាមមានកន្លែងកែច្នៃមានអីអញ្ចឹងណាមិនបាច់ចាំបោះវាចូលទៅក្នុងទន្លេទេអញ្ចឹងនេះគឺជាផ្នែកមួយនៃ solution ដំណោះស្រាយបើសិនជាមាន plastic ការប្រើ plastic កើតឡើងច្រើនអញ្ចឹងទៅយើងមិនបាច់បដោតទៅលើថាហ្នឹងវាជាបញ្ហារហូតទេបើសិនជាដោះស្រាយគឺយើងត្រូវធ្វើមិនអញ្ចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងសាច់រឿងគ្រាន់តែរូបថតមួយដែលគាត់បង្ហាញជូចិនគាត់បង្ហាញមិញហ្នឹងវាមានធាតុផ្សេងដែលយើងអាចយកទៅធ្វើរឿងបានច្រើនដូចដែលអីដែលទាំងអស់គ្នាកំពុងមើលកំពុងសម្លឹងនិយាយពីសាច់រឿងក្នុងការបង្កើតរឿងថតរឿងអញ្ចឹងយើងអាចធ្វើរឿងរ៉ាវជាច្រើននៅក្នុងដូចចំណងជើងតែមួយឬក៏ idea មួយណាដែលយើងនឹកឃើញឬស្អីដែលយើងឃើញជួបប្រទេសបច្ចុប្បន្នហ្នឹង Yes, Stefan.
Great. Thank
Maybe
you.
we can take if someone has some idea to throw in like just to propose if they haven't submitted the work.
Well, yes. Well, what I was going to say was, and I'm getting a message here from Sela, and she's pointing out this also that we have been on here for almost 90 minutes now. It's time flies when we're having fun. I would like, I mean, if I don't know how people feel if we can stay on for another 10 minutes, and if so, then maybe we can just quickly talk about the third submission that we got from Mrs. Pally. What do people think? Are you?
តាមពិតទៅយើងដល់ម៉ោងកំណត់ហើយប៉ុន្តែអាចនៅជុំគ្នាប្រហែលជា10នាទីអីទៀតបានទេយើងទៅមើលការងារដែល Polly គាត់ submit ណាបើសិនជាទាំងអស់គ្នាអត់មានបញ្ហាទេអាចនៅប្រហែលជា10នាទីទៀតមិនដែរហើយបើសិនជាអ្នកមានបញ្ហាគិតថាចង់ចេញមុនខ្ញុំគិតថាគាត់អាចចេញបានមានការងារអញ្ចឹងណាប៉ុន្តែបើសិនជាមានពេលអាចនៅជុំគ្នាបាន I think we can go ahead and those who has to go can go. Yeah, if needed.
Great. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, you know, before we do end, you know, we can just quickly talk about how to, you know, our next step here. But this is also something that we can do in you know, in an email, like let people know what about, you know, the next steps and when they can submit ideas and so forth. But Mrs. Polly, is it Polly or Polly? Are you there?
Yes,
Yep, I'm Holly. Oh, so.
Hi.
There are two Pollys.
You have some company. So thank you very much for your submission. It is very different from what the other people have submitted, because it's a much larger project, and I was hoping that you know, maybe you can share that with us and just explain to us what idea that you have in, you know, just briefly.
Well, thank you, Stefan. Actually, this story I aim to make it like a short documentary, and it's the story about Rajana, who is the marine conservator, and it's about how to say, her sacrifice to protect the marines, the marine in Cambodia.
Right, marine environment.
Yeah.
Right. So Rachana is, does she work with you, or is she a friend of yours, or?
Actually, this is not like a close friend, but I get to know her through a scuba diving trip, and then I was inspired by her motivations and inspirations, because, you know, as a young woman, she willing to, you know, give up her not like how to say, the lifestyle and all the barrier from her family as well, you know, and end up going to the marine conservations in the province is it in Eastern province, but in the how to say, in the sea.
Right.
Yeah, trying to protect the conservations as much as she could. Yeah.
Right. So great. So, and by the way, you mentioned scuba diving, that you met her on a scuba diving trip. I noticed that we have a Mr. Heng here in the group who's a scuba diver, right? And likes to film underwater. Anyway, so yeah, I thought that this sounds like a really great project. It is something that is, you know, a lot more ambitious than what we've been talking about with the way that I envision, or that I think that you're envisioning it. So I'm curious, what you know, what kind of sort of end product do you see here? Like, do you want this to be a documentary film, like a full-length documentary film, or do you want it to be something shorter? You know, what are you hoping to make?
Yeah, I actually hope to finish it as like a short documentary between 7 to 10 minutes. More like a profile of Rajana.
Right. Great. I think that that's, you know, that's smart. not to try to make it, too long. And like when we're talking about a 7 to 10 minute documentary film, it's a lot of work. So that's good. Where do you see this? Who do you see the audience, being for for this project, and where would you like it shown?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, because my previous experience working with the Bopana Center, who is documentary production house as well as archive center, so I kind of get some network with the film festival as well. So
great.
This project is more like personal film. So with the connection that I have, I'm planning to maybe trying to find a place like some festival to broadcast it. Yeah, but I know it's kind of a big story that we don't maybe not have enough time to discuss today, and I probably looking for some of your time maybe to discuss more about this idea. If
yes, I'm very happy to to help you and to give you feedback on this, and I think it's a good idea for us, and I want to do that with want to invite all of you to to contact us and contact me directly and with ideas, and I'm happy to help you individually. There's a couple of things that I wanted to say about this project, and things that kind of stood out for me when you in your summary, in your written summary, and also that you were talking about here is that this is a person who is the challenges that perhaps that come with being a woman scientist is a really interesting subject to explore, and I so I would encourage you to focus on that. Another thing is that when you're in the summary that you submitted, it's extremely broad, and you're talking a lot about like this being a sort of a I don't know if you use the word retrospective or like looking back at her her accomplishments, or sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's very easy to get hung up on like all of the things that a person like this, who sounds like a very interesting and accomplished person, has done in the past, and try to get all of that stuff into a film. But for as challenging as it is to make a 7 to 10 minute documentary film, it's not a lot of time also. So you only have so much time to to explain to the viewer who this person is and what she's gone through, right? So like I was what would be interesting, so here's somebody who has dedicated her life to marine conservation. One of the sort of the most immediate questions that I think we have as viewers, or some people who are interested in the story, is like, well, how did she develop that interest? So it could be it could be something simple, like when she was 9 years old, her someone took her to the ocean for the first time, and there she saw these fish, and she decided she wanted to be a marine conservationist, or whatever the backstory is, but that's then you have explained it in a very short and sort of concise way. And getting back to, like, we're talking about the challenges of being working as a woman in a male dominated field, maybe 1 or 2 examples of those types of challenges and how she's overcome it would be interesting. and then maybe you have told that background. Then we have an idea of what, where she's coming from, and you can focus on the work that she's doing now and that she wants to do in the future, and the larger subjects that are or the issues that are around her work. So I hope that makes sense, and I'm looking forward to talking to you more about that. So, okay.
Stefan, I just received the email from Kotjan Pisnu, and he just sent me one link, and then I'm not sure if Pisnu is here, and if he would like to talk, or I'm not
well,
sure.
I think maybe because we are running out of time here, I thank you very much for that, for submitting that idea. We'll take a look at that, but I think we can. I think we should wrap up here, and just explain. So this is what I was thinking, that we would have, and Sela, we agreed on like maybe Monday.
Yes.
What is that? The 29th?
Yeah, Monday 29.
Right. So we've talked a lot. We've talked today about this idea of putting together, your idea for a video story in a single sentence, and also, then broadening it into like one paragraph. With let's say up to 10 sentences. So what I would like to do is invite you all to submit. And even those of you who did submit ideas already, rework those ideas based on what we were talking about today, and send us those ideas in writing. So just one sentence. This is the story, the video story that I would like to do, and then here's a background on that idea, expanding on that idea in one paragraph. Send those to us by Monday, the November 29th. And I will look at those ideas, and I will respond to you individually and give you some tips and feedback on what you send me. And you can send this in, you can write this in Khmer or in English. And we will make sure that it gets translated and translated back.
ដោយសារតែយើងដល់ម៉ោងយើងអត់អាចបន្តទៅមុខទៀតអ្នកដែលគាត់មាន idea ប៉ុន្តែអត់ទាន់បានផ្ញើទៅឬក៏អត់ទាន់បាន submit ទៅលោកគ្រូអញ្ចឹងណាអញ្ចឹងនេះជាឱកាសលើកទី2បើសិនយើងសម្រាប់ submit idea អញ្ចឹង deadline គឺថ្ងៃច័ន្ទទី29អីដែលយើងអាចគួរតែ submit ទាំងអ្នកដែលបាន submit ហើយមិនទាន់ submit ហ្នឹងនៅតែមានឱកាសធ្វើរឿងនឹងម្ដងទៀតអញ្ចឹងសរសេរជាភាសាខ្មែរក៏បានអង់គ្លេសក៏បានមួយគឺ one sentence of idea គឺសរសេរតាមឲ្យ clear ទេនិយាយពី idea ឬក៏សាច់រឿងដែលយើងចង់ធ្វើបន្ទាប់មកសរសេរមក paragraph បកស្រាយឬក៏បញ្យល់បន្ថែមពី idea របស់យើងហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងការងារមាន2គឺ one sentence idea ហើយនិង one paragraph មក clear ហើយមក paragraph បកស្រាយបន្ថែមពី idea របស់យើងយើងធ្វើបានទាំងពីរភាសាហើយ deadline ថ្ងៃច័ន្ទអាទិត្យក្រោយណាហើយលោកគ្រូ Stefan គាត់នឹងតាក់ទងទៅវិញគាត់នឹង reply individually ហ្មងបានន័យថាទៅចែកគ្នាផ្ទាល់តាម email ឬក៏តាម communication ណាមួយបន្ថែមទៀតទៅលើ idea របស់យើងនឹងនៅថ្ងៃមុខទៀតពេលដែលយើង submit ហើយអញ្ចឹងឱកាសលើកទី2កុំភ្លេចណាថ្ងៃច័ន្ទ
Great. And I just wanted to add also that then we plan to have another meeting in December where hopefully we can share some of these video projects that we've gone out to film. There's going to be some projects that may be that require more time, and maybe it's want to share some video of things that you have shot or that you have questions about. but and everyone is invited to that meeting as well, even if you haven't filmed anything or you don't have an idea for now, but maybe in the future you want to this is something that you would like to know more about. So thank you very much for today. This has been really interesting. Thank you to all of the people for participating, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from all of you. And I hope that this has been useful. And so thank you very much.
អញ្ចឹងនៅខែ12ហ្នឹងយើងនឹងក្រុងរៀបចំការជួបជុំបែបនេះម្ដងទៀតប៉ុន្តែអ្នកទាំងអស់គ្នាគួរតែចាប់ផ្ដើម submit idea ធ្វើ homework ដែលគាត់ដាក់ឲ្យមិញហ្នឹង one sentence ហើយនឹង one paragraph idea ហ្នឹង submit ថ្ងៃច័ន្ទហ្នឹងសិនទៅហើយយើងនឹងរៀបចំថាគួរតែធ្វើការជួបជុំបែបនេះម្ដងទៀតនៅពេលណានៅខែក្រោយអញ្ចឹងណាហើយអរគុណទាំងអស់គ្នាច្រើនដែលបានចូលរួមសង្ឃឹមថារៀនបានខ្លះពីថ្ងៃនេះអត់ដឹងថាបានប៉ុណ្ណាទេតែសង្ឃឹមថាទទួលបានព័ត៌មានឬក៏ការចែករំលែកពីលោកគ្រូហើយនឹងអ្នកដែលចូលរួមដែលគាត់ submit idea រួចហើយនឹង at least បើសិនជាយើងមិនទាន់បានធ្វើទេយើងអាចចាប់ផ្ដើមធ្វើថ្ងៃហ្នឹងទៅវាដូចជាមិនច្រើនទេគឺ one idea ហើយបើសិនជាអ្នកដែលគាត់ធ្វើហើយគាត់ចាប់ផ្ដើមចេញថតអីអញ្ចឹងពេលដែលយើងជួបគ្នាថ្ងៃក្រោយអាចបង្ហាញវីដេអូហ្នឹងឲ្យគាត់មើលបានណា
Thanks so much for you all.
ចាអរគុណច្រើនទាំងអស់គ្នាសង្ឃឹមជួបគ្នាតាមរយៈ email ឆ្លងឆ្លើយតាក់ទងជាមួយនឹង story idea អរគុណច្រើនហើយតាក់ទងជាមួយនឹងកម្មវិធី training បន្តទៀតពួកខ្ញុំនឹងចែកតម្លែងទៅតាម Facebook page ឬមួយក៏ Telegram group អរគុណច្រើនបងអញចង់សួរមួយបងអូខេតាក់ទងនឹងរឿងតាក់ទងនឹងវីដេអូទាំង6 series ហ្នឹងតើយើងអាចរកមើលតាមណាបងពួកឯងខ្ញុំអត់បានមើលដែរមិនបងផ្ញើតាម link ទៅអូនចាំបងផ្ញើឲ្យម្ដងទៀតអូននៅក្នុង Telegram group នៅអត់បាននៅផងបងព្រោះនេះជាលើកទី1របស់ខ្ញុំឯងសម្រាប់ការចូលរួមក្នុងការស្រាវជ្រាវចាអត់អីចាំបងផ្ញើទៅឲ្យចាំផ្លែមុននឹងបងបានផ្ញើម្ដងដែរនេះអាចមើលនៅក្នុង link ដែលបងផ្ញើនេះមាន6 series video series អញ្ចឹងអាចមើលទាំងអស់ហើយ create idea ទៅហើយ submit មកលោកគ្រូ Stefan នៅថ្ងៃច័ន្ទហើយបើសិនជាមានចម្ងល់អីផ្សេងទៀតអាចផ្ញើ email មកពួកបងនឹងឆ្លើយតបទៅវិញមិញបងដាក់ email នៅក្នុង chat box ហើយបានអរគុណច្រើនបងចាអរគុណ
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
អរគុណទាំងអស់គ្នាដែលចូលរួម